Hello, everyone. Welcome to 2D Board Gamers. My name is Dave,
And I'm Dirk.
and today we're gonna do, we're gonna do a hero review for Bishop. Um, so, without any further ado, let's take a look at Bishop. Let's transition to the other camera view. Okay, so we've got his. All right, so Lucas Bishop has got a 4 recovery. He's a mutant temporal. He's temporally displaced. And as a response, after you change to this form, add a temporal card in your discard pile to your hand. So he's got like about 4, I think, his allies and and his resources.
He's got 5. He's got 5 total, but they're cards that, the resource cards, you're going to love those, and we'll get to why in a minute, but then he can also bring his allies back with that ability as well from your discard pile.
All right.
On his hero side, again, he's temporal here himself, but he's also an X-Men. He's got 2 thwart, 2 attack, and 1 defense. And his energy absorption, though, that is like his big deal right here, and why, one of the things that I love about this character is this ability right here. And anytime he takes damage, and he loves to take damage, then he will take and for each point of damage he will mill the top card of his deck, and each resource that each resource card that's in those cards that are milled, he adds them to his hand. Now, normally, he's taking the damage, but he does have ways to actually help with that. So we'll get to that here in a minute as well.
Yeah, so you're going to want a lot of resources in your deck.
Yep.
All right, so the next card is his first of 2 signature allies.
2.
So this was Malcolm. He's got a 1 thwart, 2 attack, temporal X-Men. As an action, discard a resource card from your hand and ready Malcolm. If that card has a printed strength icon, heal 1 damage from Malcolm, limit once per phase.
Okay. And then he's also got Randall here, which Randall, saying it's very similar stat line, but instead it's 2 thwart, 1 attack. He also costs 3. He also has 3 health. He's also a temporal X-Men ally. Has a very similar ability, but you can discard the card to ready him. But if it has an energy resource on it, then he gets to heal. So,
all right. Then he's got 2 really good upgrades. The first one is his rifle. So his rifle is a 2-cost upgrade. It's temporal weapon. It's restricted. Hero action. You as an attack, so you have to be, you can't do it when you're stunned. But you exhaust Bishop's rifle and choose an enemy. Deal 1 damage to that enemy for each resource card in your hand. And the attack is ranged. So
yeah. I only wish it would have been, I only wish it would have been piercing as well. But it was not. Yeah. But he's also got here, though, his other big item is his uniform. Now, we were talking about he likes to take the damage. Well, this helps out with that because it costs 2. It's an upgrade. It's a temporal upgrade. So you can get it back as with this ability, but you're only going to probably hopefully do that 1 time. But then after you resolve his energy absorption, which is the one that discards the cards and draws those resource cards into his hand, for each resource in his hand, he heals 1. So you do have to survive the attack, but if you survive it, you'll heal 1 for each resource cards in your hand. Unfortunately, you do have to exhaust the card to do that, so you can only do it once, but still, it's great ability.
Yeah, so now, of course, one downside of having a lot of resources in your hand is you might get a handful of just resources if you wish you had a resource sink. Well, you do. He's got
2 of them.
2 copies of Supercharged. It's a 0-cost upgrade. It's a superpower. Action, discard a resource card from your hand and place 1 charge counter here for each resource icon on that card. Then when you make a basic attack, you can discard Supercharged. You get +2 attack for this attack for each charge counter here to a maximum of +8. And like I said, he's got 2 copies.
And like the first time or 2 that I played him, I didn't put as much emphasis and weight onto that card. But that turned up once I realized that can be a really powerful card because it allows you to use excess resources that you've got in your hand, but you can do a huge hit with it afterwards too. So yeah, you want to try to get at least 1 of those out if you can. But next up, we've got 2 copies of Concussive Blast here. Now, Concussive Blast is an attack superpower that's really fuzzy apparently. There we go. But it's a 3-cost event. But it's a hero action, so you can deal 6 damage to an enemy. If you paid for this event using a resource card, then you can ready bishop. So he tends to not use resource generating card permanents as much. He likes the resource cards better because he gets things like this. So this one, yes, allows him to ready.
All right. And that was his attack event. Now he has a thwart event as well. So it's a 2-cost card, command authority, thwart, remove 3 threat from a scheme. And if you paid for this event with a resource card, you get to draw a card.
Yeah, so that's pretty sweet there. But now what happens if you you get all these resources and everything early in the turn or in the game, but you have to spend them to do things, so you got to spend them. So how do you get those back? Well, you got this little card here called Energy Conversion. You have 2 copies of this card. It's a 0-cost defense event, and whenever an enemy attacks you, you can shuffle every resource card in your discard pile into your deck, and then you can only take 3 damage on this attack. So he'll only get to draw 3 cards from it, but then they're all back in his deck. So he can turn around and have, if you do this toward the end, you've got just 1 or 2 cards in your deck. You put all of your resource cards. Say you've got 8, 9, 10 resources in your deck. You can put them all right back into that deck of 2 cards. So you got 12 cards with all but 2 of them resources.
Be able to afford a bunch of expensive cards or be able to power your supercharge.
Yep.
All right. And speaking of resources, he actually comes with 3 copies of what's called stored energy. This is another temporal card. So when you go down to alter ego, you can get it. It provides an energy and a strength.
And remember, those are the 2 resources you need to be able to heal your allies.
Right, yes.
So those sweet cards with those. Now, one of the big problems I ran into early on, and it didn't take me very long to figure out, hey, you know what? So I got a resource sink, but what if I need another resource sink? That's not enough, or I can't get that particular one out. So I found what turned up being one of my favorite resource sinks for him. Lockjaw, because you can use Lockjaw. You put them in your discard pile and, use his resource, whatever, put him in the discard pile, but you can play him out of your discard pile. So you get to the very end of your hand, you got a fistful, you got 5 resource cards in your hand. You got nothing to play on him. Well, there you go. Pull him out of your discard pile. That's your sink right there. Love Lockjaw. Now he does take the extra damage, but then you just turn around and bring him right back.
Okay. And one of the cards that came with him is Sidekick, which is nice because you got 2 allies.
Yep.
So, it's either one comes out. What the Sidekick does is you attach to an identity-specific Sidekick. Attached ally gets +2 hit points and is your Sidekick. After you make a basic recovery, heal 2 damage from attached ally. There is a card that works with Sidekicks. Right now, hopefully we'll get more as time goes on. But even without putting that event in, just the fact that you got a beefier ally and you could also heal him is nice.
Yeah, and he's got two signature allies. So
right, and if you decide to Voltron one of your identity specific allies, it's good for that.
Yep. But another card that I found was really good, since he discards a lot of cards whenever he gets hit. White Fox here, because the great thing about her is if you actually turn up discarding her from the top of your deck, which it's very likely to do with him, she comes into play for free. So you get a 1/1 ally with 3 hit points for free. So,
okay.
Great card. Love playing her with him.
Okay, a couple other random aspect cards that I thought of. One was Super Blurry.
Super Blurry. That's not the name of the card, by the way. Dave did not create this card just for the game.
Yeah. It's called Full Body Charge. You deal 8 damage to an enemy, and if your hero's remaining hit points are less than half your hero's starting hit points, the attack gains overkill. So now you're getting attacked a lot, and yes, you do heal, but you don't always fully heal, especially if you get you get a couple attacks kicked in, extra the villain attacks you more, a couple assaults show up or something. You can end up with less than half, but he's got a lot of resources, so he can afford the 4 cost and and dealing 8 damage to the villain. That's pretty good.
Yep.
He's somebody who can afford this card.
Yep.
Okay.
So I actually, instead of showing any specific aspect card, I kind of thought of there's a cycle of aspect cards. These are the cosmic entities. Now you come with each of the original 4 aspects. So there's not one for the pool aspect, but these are actually cards that what they do is whenever you get it, you pay the 2 resources for it, and you shuffle it into the encounter deck, and then whenever it comes up, it will have a when revealed action, and then it actually gets removed from the game. But why I like these cards, not as much for what they do, but if you're playing one of these aspects with him, you put that card in there. So you just end your deck out. And since he is the one hero that, at least in my opinion, is all about the kit, more so than any other hero that I can think of. So that's why I love anything I can do to thin out the deck for him. So that's why I like these Cosmic Entity cards with him.
All right. And then this is a card I thought of. It came in with Jubilee, since his signature resource is a 2 printed on here.
That's a good one.
3 steps ahead. So it's hero action thwart. For each different resource type you spend, use to pay for this card, choose a scheme and remove 2 threat from it. So if you use stored energy and any random other card, there you go. You got 6 threat right there.
Yep.
So
I did not even think about that. That is a good one.
You would not have that combo, obviously, with Beast, but
yeah. Well, yeah. While you got him out there, might as well bring him out.
Go ahead.
Well, so Beast is one that what's great about him is that whenever he comes into play, you can bring a resource card back to your hand. So of course you've got a lot of resources that you're able to play him with. So a lot of doubles in your deck probably. So and if you're playing him, you're using the power of leadership probably. So there's something else, but you can spin him and then he'll bring back one of those resources back into your hand, and those resources are really valuable to you.
Right.
So Beast's a really good one for
me. It fuels your using your uniform and all that fun stuff as well. Get an extra use. All right. Then I thought of Bait and Switch. Now this is a cheap card, but it allows you to have the villain attack. So if your uniform wasn't exhausted during the villain phase for whatever reason, say the villain was stunned,
or say you had healed or something, maybe even.
Yeah, but if your uniform's ready, the nice thing is the villain attacks you, so you would be able to use your uniform during the hero phase, and it allows you to remove 4 threat. And of course, at the end of the hero phase, then you're readying your uniform so you could turn around and use it in the villain phase. So this is actually a good card to turn you play your uniform even as well. Yep. But because you want to take attacks so that you can draw more resource cards.
And the thing about is a lot of the what do they call that? The no damage type of protection.
Perfect defense.
Yeah, perfect defense. Those protection decks don't tend to use this card, but this is, since he doesn't play those because he wants to take the damage, this is a great card for him, and it's a great way to utilize this card.
Right. All right, and it's another one I thought of. You want to read that one?
Oh, yeah. So that's the healing factor. So that is, if you're playing the pool aspect, this one's great. You can only have one of these per player, but at the start of the player phase, or after the player phase begins, you exhaust this card, you heal 2 damage from your identity. So this one allows you to stay up even more and take more damage. So if you weren't able to heal it or whatever, it helps you to recover that damage that you weren't able to heal, or if you took a second hit or something.
Yeah.
So it's a good way to recover.
Your uniform doesn't always clean up all the damage you take, so this would help.
Good way to do that.
This would help offset your uniform a little bit.
Also, I don't have them with me, but one of the other things, I talked about the cosmic entities earlier in the way I like to use cards to thin the decks. Well, every aspect, including the pool aspect and the basic aspect, because yes, it's an aspect as far as I'm concerned. Fight me, bro. But no, every aspect has player side schemes. And those, of course, as soon as they come out, once they're defeated, they're removed from the game. So they don't go back into your deck. So that's another great way to thin out your deck to be able to get back to his kit cards.
Okay. Yeah. Now, if you are playing Bishop Basic, or at any aspect for that matter, you want extra resource cards.
Yep.
So of course, unfortunately, the basic besides the 3 standard that you would put in, which we didn't include here, but like Digging Deep doesn't really help him because
he's getting those cards
that built in. Power Flight, Power of the Mind. You would just get 1 wild. Yep. So you could put those in to fill up your deck a little bit, but they don't really give you anything. So we're not including those in here, but that is something you could supplement if you're playing a basic only. One card we forgot to mention in the video, but it's great no matter what aspect you play, is the power of all of us. So this provides two resources when you play a basic card. So like Lockjaw, like Dirk had mentioned, or if you have Nick Fury or some other Avengers Mansions, you can afford some expensive basic cards with Bishop. And the power of all of us is great no matter which aspect you play him in. But the main focus, and that's what these we're going to go over real quick, is the resource cards from the different aspects.
Yeah, because those are ones that they might not fit into a typical build, but he can utilize it because he wants as many resources he can get. Right. So, he can do different things with them. So, yeah.
Right. So we're only showing one copy of each, but of course you can go up to the limit. So, of course, first card is the Power of Aggression, which is doubles the number of resources.
You have those in each aspect. Yeah. Every aspect has one.
But, except for pool. For generating aggression cards. So it'll be 2 wild or 1 wild. Still is good. All right. You want to read that one?
So the Audacity, this is one that after you spin this card, you can deal 1 damage to the villain. So just for using it, you get to deal a damage to the villain.
Yep. Then we've got a blurry aggressive defense.
Aggressive
energy. Yeah, it's so blurry I can't even read it. Yeah, I don't know why this camera is just being ornery. All right. Yeah, aggressive energy is when you spin this card to play an attack event, it deals an additional damage.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
Then we got the power
of justice. So of course, this is one that it gives you double resources for playing a justice card.
Yeah. Then we have passion for justice. When you spin this card to play a thwart event, that event removes an additional threat.
Okay. And the last of the justice ones here is we got determination. This is one I use a lot actually with him. After you spin this card, you get to remove a threat from the main scheme. So it is the main, it's not a side, but still.
Right. Then we got the power of leadership, which is the same thing again. Of course, you double when you're paying for a blue card.
Here we've got innovation. So that's one, if you use this to, or whenever you spin this card, you can actually heal a damage to an ally. So this is great. Of course, you've got your sidekicks. So there's another way to heal your sidekicks. Great effect.
We got effective leadership. When you spin this card to play an ally, that ally gets +1 thwart and attack till the end of the phase. Now, the other leadership, we don't have it here, band together, unless you're playing with a lot of allies, Yeah,
that one tends to not be as good. So we didn't necessarily include it here, but it is always an option.
Right. The reason is because it doesn't have a resource icon on it. But if you're playing with a lot of allies that stay out, you're Voltroning, then it would be good for him.
Okay. Here, of course, you've got the power of protection. So this is, again, double resources if you're playing a protection card.
All right, preservation. After you spin this card, heal 1 damage from your identity.
Yep, so that's another way to keep him up a little bit longer. Here we've got defensive energy. So if you spin this card to play a defensive event, you get to draw a card. Love drawing cards with him.
And then, of course, the pool resources. So you double the number that it generates if you sustain less than 5, and triple if you've sustained no damage. So these are really good if you're playing Bishop Pool.
Yep.
All right. So that was Bishop and some of the cards we think are good for him. You got anything else you want to bring up?
No, like I said, for me, one of the big things though is I love to be able to play him with as thin of a deck as I possibly can. So yes, I kind of like to try to do that with everybody, but I try not to make an exception with him. I will do whatever I can to thin his deck. And like I said, that's why I love the cosmic entities and the side schemes and everything else, to try to get as small of a deck as I can to get to his cards as much as I can, because he's all about the kit.
All right. Okay. So with that, we will thank you for watching, everyone. Please like and subscribe. Hey everyone, if you like that, we got more videos. There's one over here, one over here, and you can subscribe down here. Thank you.